Welcome to a very autumnal morning. It's all beech trees, I think. Yeah. Lovely and golden at the moment. The white balance on the iPhone is struggling because it doesn't understand that leaves are yellow, so it's trying to make everything look greener than it is. But I assure you they are golden. We're on the way to Mortlake Station, but we can't go through the crematorium because they're re-landscaping the whole thing. Like, they've put new flower beds in, and they're doing new paths, and then changing the car park and all sorts. So we're going to have to go past Putney Town Rowing Club.
Welcome to another episode of Toby's Stupid Vlog.
So here we are at Oaxaca, other side of Waterloo Station, which I've never been to. Bizarrely, never been out this way of Waterloo. But here we are, ready for lots of noise and some Mexican food. Hello, happy Sunday. It's a lovely view from Chiswick Bridge across the River Thames, high tide. People playing, I'm going to guess, football. We're going away from Twickenham, it's the other semi-final today, and towards Chiswick. So it's 3:20 on Monday. As you can see, it's beautiful and blue. So I thought I better go out, go for a walk, because the sun sets in like an hour and a half. Yes, the clocks went back yesterday, and I'm not happy about it, and I never will be happy about it until such point as they finally change the law, which could be decades away, the sort of archaic government we have at the moment. Never mind, enough politics. But it is a lovely day, so it is worth getting out, stretching my legs. It's supposed to be very nice tomorrow as well, so I am going to make the most and go to Kew, take a few snaps. So we had a very nice weekend. On Saturday, went out for a meal, didn't overeat for once. Sunday we stayed in, watched the Grand Prix, the most amazing Grand Prix I've ever seen, with cancelled sessions, torrential rain, and then in the end Lewis Hamilton managed to win 2015 World Championship. So all in all, very good. Clocks did go back, as I mentioned. I'm not a fan of the whole Greenwich Mean Time thing. It's designed for a rural agrarian society that we don't have, and it is archaic and it does need to go, but not a lot I can do about that really at the moment. So it is technically 3:30, although it's really 4:30 BST. And the sun sets, as I said, very shortly, so you have to make the most of it, make the most of the light when it comes out. Tomorrow I'm supposed to be seeing Steve and Tom for yet another meal out. Like this week, last couple of weeks have been crazy, and today all I've been doing is a bit of invoice analysis and income analysis, just going through my past earnings and working out some trends and what have you, and looking at what I need to do in order to earn what I want to earn, and where the quiet bits are and where I'm not paid enough and that kind of stuff. If you are a freelancer, I would strongly suggest you did something similar. The reason being is you might find that there are certain trends that are avoidable. So you might find there are months when you're particularly unproductive, or where your earnings per day fluctuate, if you take an average as it were, or whether you take a lot of holiday where you can't necessarily afford to, you see what I mean? So it's worth having a bit of a look at it. I tend to look month on month, year on year, and just sort of, it is classic statistics, me going a bit overkill with no radar to analyse, but it is quite handy. I can look at it and straight away see that generally, although it's the middle of the summer and there's really good earning opportunities, I don't earn a lot of money in July. And the reason being is I tend to go on quite long holidays in July, and if I want to do that, then I have to compensate by earning more in June and August and what have you. And it's just things like that, so you're aware. It helps with decisions about what kind of work you're going to take and when you're going to take it. And also, I never earn very well December, January. November is a bit of an unknown, and February similarly can be brilliant or terrible. But December, January are always poor. And so I need to think of what things I could do in those months, maybe outside of my normal work, that would bolster my income. So it's been quite productive, if a little geeky, but you know, put the time in and hopefully see some reward. I don't feel like we've talked a lot recently about what's been going on, and the last couple of weeks have been slightly short vlogs. Missed Back to the Future Day, for example. My thoughts on that were how depressing the whole thing felt. Not because we weren't as far advanced maybe in some ways as the film suggested, but the fact that, you know, we're here now. Like, there is no more going forward. There isn't a new exciting phenomenon beyond. It kind of feels like those films have now run their course entirely, and that's it. Like, they're always now going to look old, and that's a little depressing. One of the interesting facts though is when he first goes back to 1955, he arrives on my dad's 19th birthday. Interesting side note. I'll have to ask my dad what he was doing on his 19th birthday, see if it compares. The noises in the background are because they are finally developing at the old Inland Revenue site in Kew, which has been on off for years, but they're actually piling, which is obviously quite noisy work, but still I'm happy that it's going ahead. So on the 5th of November, Guy Fawkes night, or whatever you want to call it, is my dad's 79th birthday, 60 years after that part in Back to the Future. So we'll be going back the weekend immediately following that, after Crystal takes the girls to a musical. On the Saturday we'll be going home, we'll see everybody. And that'll be nice because we haven't all got together in a while. And need to get my dad a birthday present. Therefore, need to ponder along that a bit. Still need to get Anna a birthday present. Anna's birthday was a couple of weeks ago. We haven't seen her yet. We've kind of got half her present. We haven't got the other half, so that needs to be resolved as well. Got a couple of weeks of slightly more freedom and walking at the moment, so hopefully it'll allow me to actually think about these things and they don't get lost in the sort of melee of day-to-day life. This is definitely my favourite alley in Kew. Partly because it serves no purpose, it literally runs parallel to a road, and also because it's very confusing as to how it came to be, because there's properties on both sides, but they don't back onto each other because of this bizarre alleyway. It must have been an old public right-of-way, and I can't imagine they would have kept it otherwise. And frankly, there's no really good reason to still keep it. But I like it, so. It is absolutely beautiful today. The sky is blue, the sun is out, and it's actually very warm. It's a one-day Indian summer. So we're going to have some lunch. We're going to pop into Kew. There is quite a decent chance of some flooding this afternoon, believe it or not, because of a very high tide. But that'll be fun to watch. It is still very warm and very pleasant. I'm going to head round to the lake and see whether any of this actual flooding is occurring or whether it's, you know, just hearsay. It's hard to really explain the number of people that are wearing scarves and gloves. It's 18 degrees. I nearly choked, that was so shocking. I don't know, I just don't understand people sometimes. They're like, oh, it's October, so I'll dress up as if it's cold. Maybe dress up for what temperature it actually is. Never mind. But it is alarmingly warm. It is actually t-shirt weather, so I'm myself overdressed. So maybe I'm just as much to blame as everyone else. Right, well, I don't see any evidence of flooding around the lake, do you? No. It is an exceptionally high tide, but hasn't broken the banks, although it's come through the sluice gate into the ditch quite strongly. I haven't seen it this high, this far up the river in quite some time, but it's a good metre off actually flooding anything on this side. On the other side, however, I think it may have slightly flooded Syon House's grounds. Clapham.
Oh, what?
I always end up filming around here. It's usually slightly messier. This is. We're going. Steve is taking us to the toilet.
Film this.
Good afternoon. So I'm going to Richmond now to try and do a bit of shopping. But last night was good fun. We did end up in the converted toilets of Clapham. They converted the toilets that fed the underground station into a bar. It's a bit weird. It's hugely hipster and very slightly overpriced, but it was a good night nonetheless. It has turned into a very lovely evening, although it's technically only 4 o'clock, but it's an evening light because the sun sets in less than an hour. Anyway, not an overly successful shopping trip, if I'm honest, and I haven't bought anything. I've had a few ideas of what I could get people around Christmas, but it doesn't really solve the imminent birthday problems. I now have a week to go, so that should make, a bit of panic will set in, and that'll hopefully help. Saw some very interesting, very nice books, but I'm not really sure whether they have those or something like that, so who knows? I certainly don't. So all I have actually bought is pumpkins based things. I bought 2 pumpkin beers and this from a green branded coffee maker is a pumpkin spice latte with no coffee. So it's essentially a pumpkin spice cream heated up. It's awesome. If you don't like coffee, go and ask for one. Just say, can I have a pumpkin spice latte, no coffee, please. So I've just learned that Diane Charlemagne passed away today. She'd been fighting cancer for quite some time, and it's very sad. It's very sad when you lose someone that way. For those of you who don't know, she started off life as the voice of the Urban Cookie Collective, if you remember them, but more famously, she sang the vocals on Goldie's Inner City Life, which was somewhat of a seminal tune. Certainly made Goldie and was one of the records that sort of launched jungle and drum and bass from being a completely underground movement into something that people started to hear about. She worked with a lot of other drum and bass producers over the years as well, not least London Electricity and various people on the Hospital Records label. She's worked with house producers like Joey Negro, Satoshi Tomy, all sorts. She's a hugely versatile singer, incredibly talented woman. Very sad to lose her. But that's what life's like sometimes, and you're reminded that we talk about cancer survival rates, but still half of people who get cancer die from it. And so if you're thinking of donating anything over the next few months towards a charity of note, can I suggest that Cancer Research UK could really do with your money. Afternoon, hello from sunny Camden. It's not sunny and it won't be for months. I'm back at USP today doing a bit of studio work, a bit of editing, and then there's a live football ramble show that goes out on Sirius in the US that we do later on tonight, so I'll be doing that before nipping home in the pitch black, because by the time I get out it'll be like 6:30 and it'll be deathly black. Camden has a very different character at night and it's less charming, let's say. I certainly wouldn't take the canal route back to the station after dark, although they seem to have shooed away all the troublesome characters, let's say. But still, yeah, it's stick to the well-lit pavements. Good evening, happy Friday. I'm just on my way to M&S. Buy a few things for tonight's meal. I finally got round to watching Good People, which is the film that is shot primarily outside my neighbour's house. Yeah, if you do see it, it's actually quite an interesting film. It hasn't got great reviews, but Anna Friel does climb on the roof at one point up there, so that's got to be worth watching. Anyway, that's about it for this week, to be honest. I'm not going to show myself eating some jerk pork that I've made, because that's probably not interesting enough, although it has taken a few hours to thoroughly jerk the pork. No, it's not innuendo, that's actually what you do. Anyway, thanks very much for watching, and please subscribe if you enjoyed, and I hope I will see you next week right here.